Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. Welcome to another flight. Today we're flying the Air Arabia A321 to Istanbul from Sharjah. We are at Sharjah here. The weather here is nice in Istanbul. It's a bit less nice, but we'll talk about our destination weather in a bit. This is the A321. And as I said, we'll take this bird to Istanbul. So welcome to this Air Arabia flight 283 from Sharjah to Istanbul. In Istanbul, we'll be using the Sabiha Gokcen airport. Excuse me if I don't pronounce it right, but that's kind of the low-cost airport of Istanbul. And Air Arabia, as you probably know, is a low-cost airline based in Sharjah, close to Dubai. But they have other bases too in Egypt, in Morocco, in Abu Dhabi, here in the United Arab Emirates. There is a base as well of Air Arabia, and under another name, I think it's Fly Jinnah, they also are based in Pakistan. Without further ado, let's get into the cockpit and start our flight. We're using FS2 crew today, so we have our co-pilot here. A look into the cabin behind us. Our co-pilot will do the initial start-up of the cockpit as soon as I will tell him to do so. But before we just check that our weather radar is off, the predictive wind shear system is set to off. Our gear lever is set to down. Our wipers are off. And now we can tell him to set up or to start up the aircraft. Let's start setting up. You didn't hear that? Let's start setting up.
Roger.
Yeah, sunglasses always very important, especially here in Sharjah. So, we are on external power. You turn the batteries on. And the GSX menu also popped up, which is great. We are at stand number 7 here in Sharjah today, just because 7 is my lucky number. And for every flight, a little bit of luck is always good. Now you see the first officer. You don't see his hand, but it's him doing that. It doesn't go by itself. Turning on the ADIRs.
I'm out for the walkabout.
And then he is out on the walk-around. He's already gone. So I'll do my part of the job as well. The ADIRs are on. I'll put the evacuation command to captain. Some airlines use captain and purser, who can command the evacuation when it's necessary, of course. Some airlines have it for captain only. Not sure what the Air Arabia SOP is, but I'll just put it on captain for now. We'll do a test of the CVR. You hear that beep, that means everything is working fine, and we put the CVR to ground control. Usually the cockpit voice recorder, which is the CVR, starts when the engines start, and most airlines want to be able to listen as well to the pre-flight briefing in case anything goes wrong. So you put it on before the engines start manually by turning on this ground control button. Oxygen, very important. You can test the oxygen here as well. That seems to work fine. We'll put our EFB on as well, as we are on this view right now. And that's on as well. I changed the background image. I'm performing this flight for Air Arabia Virtual, which is a beautiful virtual airline simulating the real-world operations of Air Arabia. I'll put a link to them below if you want to do A320 flights, realistic ones, out of Sharjah, Morocco, Pakistan or Egypt, to lots of destinations in Europe, the Middle East, up to India. As soon as the Fenix A320ceo comes out, you can also fly them up to Gatwick, Milan, as well to Southeast Asia, like Phuket, Bangkok, and so on. Great airline, lots of interesting destinations, so be sure to check them out. So yes, the EFB, apologies, is turned on. We'll just import the flight plan from Debrief. I already prepared everything before. I'll just change this to 940. This is Air Arabia flight 283. The real world flight is an evening flight, but for personal reasons, what happened now? I'm going to fly them in the morning. In the morning UTC, which is already kind of afternoon in Sharjah. 940 is what I put as scheduled time of departure. 940 UTC, which is 1:40 p.m. in Sharjah local time, and our arrival would then be estimated at 1440 Zulu UTC, which is 1740 local time in Istanbul. So not sure what time the sunset is in Istanbul, but probably we'll have some nice sunset light in Istanbul. So let's continue with the cockpit setup. I will be turning on the APU soon, so let's just test the fire warnings also of the engines while we're here. We'll leave the fuel pumps off for now until after refueling. Put the strobe light on auto. Nav light on system 1. We'll leave all these lights off for now. No smoking sign to auto, and the seat belts will remain off until we finish refueling. Emergency exit lights armed, and now we are more or less ready for boarding. I'll just load up the flight in our MCDU as well. And I'll do this here in the AOC menu. Flight init, initial data request, and it should pull it automatically from Debrief. I see my thrust levers are, yeah, that looks much better. I'll just turn this on so we can hear the cabin announcements as well, just for immersion. Makes it feel a bit more realistic. And not that I'll be looking a lot at this EFB, but I'll turn it on as well. So the beep you hear is GSX telling me to refuel the plane. I still have issues with the sync between GSX and the Fenix. I think since the last update of either GSX or the big Fenix update. What goes for fuel? The weather in Istanbul is not very good, but it's acceptable. Raining right now, and for our arrival time it's estimated to be cloudy, but no rain. No very low cloud covers as well, so we don't need a lot of extra fuel. Debrief calculated the fuel to 14,246 kilograms. I'll just round that up to 15,000. So 15 tons of fuel, just to be on the safe side. We don't really need extra fuel today.
No issues on the road.
And the first officer is back. We don't have a lot of passengers for an A321 today, 128, so we will be rather light, except for the fuel. and that's the luggage weight of those passengers. I'll just put GSX boarding and refueling. Let's see. And yeah, as I said, the sync doesn't work very well, so I'll put in the fuel here manually, and then I think GSX will start fueling our plane. Yeah, it doesn't start by itself, and it keeps beeping. So I just go to config, fuel, put 15k kilograms of fuel in there. And now it's in there, and the GSX menu will be starting to load the fuel, simulating the loading time of the fuel. The boarding seems to start. You hear the cabin announcements in the background. I don't see the cabin crew yet.
Hello, Captain. We are ready for pushback.
But GSX has started the boarding, as you can see here. Already 10 passengers boarded. We just can't see them. Not sure why that is, but it's not the most important part of all of this.
Departure checks completed.
Let's continue to set up our FMC. I go to flight init. Again, I will pull the flight plan out of Debrief by pressing init request. I insert our flight number, which is Air Arabia, flight 283. Our dispatch gave us a cost index of 15 today, and our cruising level will be 360. Initially, I think we'll be able to climb to 380 a little bit later on, as we are pretty light in terms of passenger load today. Let's just make sure that those numbers are correct. Our top of climb temperature today. I'm able to find on the Debrief flight plan. So we just go to our flight log, look at our top of climb, and our top of climb temperature is -48, which is a bit warmer than standard, so we will correct this in the FMC as well. Let's also look at our troposphere today, which is are these numbers here. And that seems to be around 57,000 feet all the way. Here it goes down to 45. And then it will probably go a bit further down to even 36.5. I'll just correct this to 36,500. Wind is uploaded automatically from Debrief by pressing this button. And the initial data for our flight is now programmed into the computer. Runway in use today in Sharjah is runway 12.
The security and safety checks are all done. Are we good to start boarding?
Boarding has already started. I'll but I'll just say yes.
Okay.
The flight attendant, by the way, is also from FS2 crew, which gives you the first officer, but also the critical communications from the cabin to the cockpit, which makes it more immersive. So, as I said, runway 12 is in use in Sharjah today. As we're flying on VATSIM and we're following the real world, and other pilots might be flying as well, we usually take the runway information from flight radar to see what the real world is doing. You can see it on the recording, but I'm doing that as I speak, and the runway has changed to runway 30. So we'll just put that in the FMC as well. We go to flight plan and go to our departure airport. We'll choose runway 30. Our first waypoint today is read up, and that means that out of runway 30 we'll use the read up to Romeo departure, which I will select as well. And that's in the flight plan. And for Istanbul, runways can change, of course, but we'll also put something in there. Let's see what the weather in Istanbul is according to our flight plan at our time of arrival. So Istanbul right now has winds from 040 degrees at 10 knots. But if we look at the forecast, we see that our time of arrival is between 12 o'clock and 15 o'clock UTC. And it doesn't give any wind change for then, but a little bit later it will change slightly to the north. But until then we will have eastern winds. I'll keep runway 06 for now. We can also look at flight radar what they are doing in Istanbul at this moment with that kind of wind. And you won't see that on your screen, but that's what I am doing right now. So yeah, it looks like runway 06 left is in use right now in Istanbul. So for now, we'll insert the ILS Zulu for runway 06 left. Our last waypoint on this flight is Tucker, so we'll put in the Tucker 1 Golf arrival, which will lead us from our last waypoint to the ILS, and that's inserted as well. We'll also fill in the secondary flight plan in case we have an engine failure here in Sharjah during departure and we need to return to the airport. It's always good to be ahead of the airplane. So for that secondary flight plan, I'll just copy the active one. And what this secondary flight plan does is that if we have an engine failure, we'll have a high workload. So we don't want to worry too much about navigation, so we can just switch and activate to the secondary flight plan, and that will already tell the computer everything it needs for our return to Sharjah if anything goes wrong. Can be an engine failure, can be anything else as well. For this, so I have the active flight plan, I'll just change the first waypoint to our engine out SID. And for this, I will have to create a waypoint, and I will call it engine out runway 30. I'll just put it here. And then I'll define that waypoint. So the engine out of runway 30 at Sharjah will remain on a heading of 300 for 25 miles, and there we will hold and make a decision on what to do depending on the problem we have. So in case anything goes wrong, we already have a flight plan and a plan to return to Sharjah. I'll store that. Go to the secondary flight plan and insert it right here. I'll also change the destination for the secondary flight plan from Sharjah to from Istanbul to Sharjah. And we'll also already put the arrival information of Sharjah in there. We won't be using a star, but we'll be using the ILS runway 30 in case we have to return to Sharjah. And to be even further ahead of the airplane, we also can insert our performance. For the arrival phase, obviously. So in case we have to return to Sharjah, we'll do a full flap landing. The minimums for runway 30, you can look them up on the chart, but I know them by heart, so let's put 313, 313 feet as minimums. Then we'll have a look at the weather in Sharjah right now. The QNH in Sharjah at this moment is 1015, so we'll put that in there as well. Outside temperature is 24 degrees. And the winds at this moment 290 at 4 knots. And that explains why runway 30 is in use right now. So like this, everything is already prepared in case something goes wrong during our takeoff. With this set, we can set up this panel here as well. We'll be using the constraints view for our departure. Flight directives are on. QNH is 1015 and that's set, and the stop altitude in Sharjah is 3000 feet. We'll put that in as well already. And with this, the airplane is almost set up. What is missing at this moment is our performance calculation for our departure here in Sharjah. We still don't have the final load sheets, so we'll be using the preliminary load sheet. And we received that in our AOC menu. We can disregard the previous one. And the latest update of the load sheet gives us a zero fuel weight of 61.8. And we use those numbers as well already for our
Hi guys, here's the
FMC.
for you.
We can run that up to 61.9. And our Mach 0 fuel weight is 25.5. With 15 tons of fuel. So we had a runway change, so it's important we check that we have the right runway in our performance calculator. We'll sync the preliminary load sheet. We'll do an optimal flap config takeoff. We won't force toga. Anti-ice obviously will be off. The packs will remain off as well during takeoff. That's more efficient. And we'll sync our weather. Temperature is now 25 degrees, and we won't do an intersection departure by company SOP. The Airbus A321 should always use full runway length for departure. We'll calculate this, and now we have our V speeds: V1 165 knots, VR 168 knots, and V2 also 168 knots. It will be a flap 2 takeoff. And we'll be flexing to 56 degrees, reduced takeoff performance. We'll send this to our MCDU. And our performance is now also in the system. Everything is set up. The aircraft is fueled. That means we can turn the fuel pumps on. And also the seat belts can go to on now. And that means the last remaining step before departure is the departure briefing. So I'll ask the first officer if he's ready for the departure briefing. Are you ready for the departure briefing?
Go ahead.
So for the briefing, we'll look at the weather, and the weather is good here in Sharjah. Light winds from a direction 290 degrees, which is the runway direction. It will be a config 2 takeoff, so we'll use flaps 2, and our runway has changed to runway 30. Our V speeds 165 is V1. Until 100 knots, we'll stop for anything, any malfunction, anything that sounds wrong, that looks wrong, we'll stop. When we are in the high-speed regime, which means after 100 knots and before V1, we will only stop for an engine fire or engine failure, any kind of fire, wind shear warnings, or if we feel that the aircraft is unsafe to fly. And then after V1, any problem has to be taken into the air, and we already have our return route to Sharjah in our FMC. We'll have a look at the charts as well. Let's go to the Fenix EFB. All the charts should already be loaded in there. They are not loaded in there, but we can manually look them up. So here at Sharjah, we are at stand 7 right now. At the gate, so we will push back facing east. For our taxi, what we expect, as there is no ATC online, we will just remain on Alpha. Taxi Alpha all the way to Alpha 20, and then line up cross Bravo via Bravo 20 and use the full runway length of runway 30. We'll just star these maps. Then we will look at our departure route. We are using the read up to Romeo departure. Which is in our FMC as well. So as our stop altitude, we see the initial climb clearance is 2,000 feet. So we'll put 2,000 feet here. And we'll stick to our SID as there might be traffic out of Dubai as well. So as there is no ATC, we don't want to cross their paths if there's any traffic climbing out of Dubai. So we'll climb straight ahead to 2,000 feet, which is set correctly in the FMC. At Sierra Juliet 597, we turn left to 6,000 feet or above. And we continue from there to Orlat. And as you can see, everything is correct in our FMC. As well, the speed restriction until Sierra Juliet 597 of 220 knots. And at Orlat, we turn to Kicksock and then read up. And from there, our filed flight plan starts, and everything is in our FMC. And as discussed, if anything goes wrong, we switch to our secondary flight plan, do a holding 25 miles out on runway heading from Sharjah, and decide on our next action. Any questions?
No questions.
So the departure brief is completed. And we should be fully ready for departure right now. Let's turn the APU on. The APU is spooling up. This is a fully automated startup. You don't need to monitor it, but the screen will automatically show you the APU once you fire it up. The APU is available. I'll just put the chrono to 3 minutes, as it's not recommended to turn on the APU bleed before. All doors are already closed. We'll close the cockpit door as well, and then we are ready to do the before start checklist. Sorry, and I will just ask my first officer to launch the before start checklist through FS2 crew. Before start checklist.
Parking brake.
Parking brake, as we can see, is set, so we'll tell him set.
Takeoff speeds and thrust.
V1 165, VR 168, V2 168, flexing 56 degrees. He didn't get that. V1 165, VR 168, V2 168, flex temp 56 degrees. Still not. V1 165, VR 168, V2 168, flexing 56 degrees.
V1 165, V rotate 168, V2 168, flex temp 56 degrees, windows.
Closed.
Beacon.
And we can turn the beacon to on.
Locking gear.
And GSX deconnected me from the external power source. We have the APU, so that's fine. We'll wait 30 more seconds before we turn on the APU bleed. And so the beacon is on. You didn't get that. On. On.
Before start checklist complete.
For some reason, when I'm recording, the first officer doesn't always understand me very good. So we are ready for pushback. We can turn the APU bleed to on now. That will cool down the cabin a bit as well, as the sun is shining on our airframe. And departure pushback will be to the right, so meaning nose to the nose to the left and tail to the right. So let's start our pushback.
Release parking brakes, please.
We'll release the parking brakes for pushback.
Commencing push. All engines clear. Start at will.
Nose wheel steering disconnect. That's fine. And we'll just wait until our engines are a bit further out before we start our first engine. On the Airbus, recommended procedure is to start engine 1 first and then engine 2, which is different from Boeing. But some airlines have as SOP as well to start engine 2 first. But for Air Arabia, SOP is starting engine 1 first. So engine mode selector to start. And tell the first officer that I will be starting engine 1 now. Starting engine 1. Again, he didn't hear that. Starting engine 1. Starting engine 1.
Okay.
And we can see that N2 is rising.
Ladies and gentlemen,
We have full fuel flow on engine 1. And N1 is coming up as well as the EGT.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, for your comfort
Please set parking brakes.
demonstrate safety features.
Okay, we didn't get pushed all the way, but here is fine. We'll set the parking brakes.
Waiting your confirmation for a good engine start.
Okay, engine 1 is available, which means that we can start engine 2.
Your seatbelt
Starting engine 2.
fastened when you are
Okay.
seated. Insert the flap tip into the buckle and pull the strap. To unfasten, just lift the buckle.
لربط الحزام بإحكام أدخل القطعة المعدنية المسطحة في المشبك ثم شد الحزام. لتحرير الحزام ارفع غطاء المشبك.
If oxygen masks drop down, pull it towards you. Place it over your nose and
So we're flying the Airbus A321 today, which is quite a bit longer than the A320.
your own mask.
So tail strike is a threat and a risk. We'll need to be extra careful when rotating.
ثم ضعها فوق أنفك وفمك. اسحب الشريط المطاطي وتنفس بشكل طبيعي.
One of the reasons why we use the full runway length all the time on the A321 here in Sharjah, while on the A320, whenever possible, you would take an intersection departure.
Place the jacket over your head. Wrap the strap around your
Okay, second engine is available as well.
Inflate the life jacket by
I can turn the engine mode selector to normal.
downwards. The life jacket can also be
And our first officer is doing his preparations as he should.
Inflate your life jacket until instructed by the crew.
And we can tell GSX
The aircraft.
that we had a good engine start and they can disconnect.
We have a good engine start. You can disconnect.
Unlocking gear.
حول عنقك ثم لف الشريط حول خصرك واربطها بإحكام. قم بنفخ السكر عبر سحب المرابط الحمراء بقوة نحو الأسفل. يمكنك أيضا نفخ السكر عند الحاجة عبر الأنابيب الحمراء. لا تنفخ سكر
We'll turn the APU off.
عند صدور تعليمات الطاقم وعند مغادرتك للطائرة.
This aircraft is fitted with 8 emergency exits, which are equipped with an automatic evacuation slide. The cabin crew will now point out the nearest emergency exits to you.
يوجد 8 مخارج على هذه الطائرة. كل المخارج مزودة بزجاجات النجاة.
And the tow truck is disconnected, so we can do the after start checklist.
Left is clear.
After start checklist.
Placed on the floor to guide you to the nearest
Empty eyes.
exit. All safety instructions can be found on the safety card
Off.
located in your seat pocket.
ECAM status.
Please read it before takeoff.
Checked.
سوف ترشدك
Base steering.
الموجودة في الممرات الأرضية إلى
30% set.
Rudder trim.
يوجد قاعدة بطاقات تعليمات السلامة والموجود
Neutral.
After start checklist complete.
All mobile phones and electronic devices must be switched off or set them to airplane mode until we have landed at our destination.
يجب إطفاء جميع الهواتف المحمولة والأجهزة
Okay, the ground crew
ويجب عدم
is
إلى حين هبوط
leaving
وتوقفها تماما.
Smoking and
the surroundings of the aircraft so we can start our taxi.
and all toilets are equipped with smoke detectors. Thank you for your attention and we wish you a pleasant flight.
Clear left side.
Clear right side.
Brake check.
Pressure 0.
So as discussed before, we will taxi all the way down Alpha. Keep our taxi speed below 30 knots. And in the meantime, we can do our flight controls check. Flight controls check. You didn't understand that. Flight controls check. Flight controls check.
Ready. Full up. Full down. Neutral. Full left. Full right. Neutral.
Rudder.
Full left. Full right. Neutral.
Taxi checklist.
Flight controls.
Checked.
Checked. Flap setting.
Config 2.
Config 2. Radar and proactively adjust system.
On and auto.
Engine mode selector.
Normal.
ECAM memo.
Takeoff, no blue.
Taxi checklist complete.
Okay, we are fully ready for departure now. There is still no ATC online, so we'll have a good look on our TCAS once it's on, if we see any traffic. Visually, I can't see anything on the approach path. And as required by VATSIM procedures, if no ATC is online, we'll do a position call before entering the runway. So as we're close, and to give people the time to react, we'll do that now. Sharjah traffic, Air Arabia 283, line up and take off runway 30, Sharjah traffic. So no reaction on Unicom, which means that probably there is nobody around. So we can line up. We'll tell the first officer that we are cleared for departure. Cleared for departure.
Takeoff runway confirmed. Approach patch clear of traffic. Cabin crew proceeded for takeoff.
Line up checklist.
Takeoff runway.
30 confirmed.
Runway 30 confirmed. TCAS.
TARA.
Backs 1 and 2.
Off.
Line up checklist complete.
Okay, so we are ready. We will spool up the engines to 50%, check if they are stabilized, and then do a flex setting takeoff. Ready? Takeoff.
Check.
So let the engines spool up to 50%. Stabilized and flex. Man, flex, runway, SRS, auto thrust, blue.
Checked. Thrust set.
Checked.
$100.
Checked.
V1. Rotate.
So, slow rotation to prevent a tail strike.
Positive sky.
Gear up.
Gear up.
And we are airborne out of Sharjah. I'll fly it manually for now. We can go to flaps 1. Flaps 1. Flaps 1.
Speed checked. Flaps 1.
On the left, you could see Dubai, but it's very dusty here in Sharjah today, as you can see. So 1000 to our stop altitude. Flaps 0.
Speed checked. Flaps 0.
Thrust levers to climb.
Packs are on.
And the packs are on. We'll stop our climb here at 2000 feet as per the SID, and that will make sure that we won't be in conflict with the traffic coming out of Dubai, as there usually is on VATSIM, even if there's no ATC. So the constraint of 2000 feet and 220 knots is until Sierra Juliet 597. We have our TCAS on, there is nothing, no traffic to see, so we could continue our climb. But just to be safe, let's follow the published SID departure route. I forgot to turn the chrono on when we left, I'll just do that now. Three miles to Sierra Juliet 597, and from there we'll turn left to Sierra Juliet 594, which we have to cross above 6,000 feet. It's all in the FMC, so the autopilot will calculate the necessary VNAV path and follow it. Here is our left turn. And as we pass Sierra Juliet 597, the autopilot continues its climb. Which means if I would have put a higher altitude, which I'm doing now. As there is no ATC and no traffic, we don't have any restrictions under which we need to stay below. I'll put in our cruising altitude of 36,000 feet straight away, and that will make us climb to our cruising altitude now, without further input. We have a slight cloud layer here, but our outside temperature is way above 10 degrees, so no anti-ice needed. I can see here my frame rates aren't very good. That's probably because the recorder is running in the background. This wasn't an issue last time I recorded, but there always needs to be one issue, of course. Although outside everything looks smooth. Passing 9,000 feet. At 10,000 feet we can turn the seatbelt signs off. Okay, 10,000 feet. Clear rod nav.
Okay.
And seatbelts off. Okay, next will be our transition altitude. I think it's 13,000 feet in Sharjah, but we can already go to standard now.
Starlight cross checked. Passing slider. 114. Now.
Checked. So we are flying now towards Gokcen and Read Up, which will put us on our route. We'll remain in United Arab airspace until Tumak, as you can see on this chart. There we will enter into Qatar Doha airspace until Agnim. And then we will remain in Bahrain airspace for quite a bit until the waypoint of Davos. And in Davos we will enter the Kuwait airspace until Tasmi, and then continue in the Iraqi airspace all the way up to Ninva. And from there on we will be in Turkish airspace until our landing in Istanbul, Sabiha Gokcen airport. Quite long arrival route, as you can see, if the runway doesn't change in Istanbul, which is normal. We're coming from the east and we'll be landing into an eastern direction. So I'll stop the recording for now, as we'll climb and follow an eventless climb up to our cruising level. And we'll be cruising for a bit today. It's a long flight, 4.5 hours is the estimated flight time. And obviously anything interesting happening en route, I will be back. And the latest for our approach briefing and arrival into Istanbul, I will be back as well. So we are in our cruise right now. On our left there is Qatar and Doha. Just to show you something which you should do every 30 minutes more or less while in cruise. And let's have a look at your en route alternates in case anything goes wrong now. If it's a minor issue, we could still consider to return to Sharjah, as it's our maintenance base, so that would make sense in an operational way. But if it's more urgent, we could look at the airports where we could land immediately if necessary, and that could be Doha, which is not very far away, or maybe Bahrain, which is in front of us. So for that, every 30 minutes check for your situational awareness where you could go if anything goes wrong right now. And for this you could check the weather for those airports as well, to see if those airports are really suitable in case of an emergency. You can pull the weather from your AOC menu. And if we look at Bahrain, for example, Oscar Bravo Bravo India, we'll just go to weather request, Oscar Bravo Bravo India. Send it, and we'll do also a weather request for Doha. Which is Oscar Tango Bravo Delta. Now in your messages you will have received the weather data. If we look at Bahrain, it's hazy there with reduced visibility. Winds 120 at 9 knots. It's not ideal, but acceptable if we need to divert, depending on the problem. And if we look at Doha, it's less hazy there, slightly reduced visibility. Light winds from the east, 8 knots, also perfectly acceptable and better, depending on the problem. Than Bahrain. I did the old airport of Doha, but I should have inserted Oscar Tango Hotel instead. But this is something you should do every 30 minutes. It gives situational awareness. If we need to do an emergency descent, that shouldn't be an issue right now because we are over water. So the minimum safe altitude, as you can see here, 1,400, 1,600 feet, so descending until even 2,000 feet should not be any problem. You can look at your fuel flow, which looks good, and go to your fuel page. You see that the fuel tanks are emptying in an equal way. So there are no fuel leaks or anything. Your en route weather, to update yourself on the weather, is also a good idea. And these are things you can do like every 30 minutes to keep your situational awareness and always have a plan in mind if suddenly something goes wrong. So another update from on the cruise, just to see where we are above Iraq, and right now probably, I think this is Najaf or Baghdad would be the best airports if something would go wrong now and we need to divert. So both airports are good en route alternates for us. If we look at Baghdad, which is Orbi, we can have a look at weather there, just to see if that airport is really suitable in case anything goes wrong and we urgently need to divert. So weather request again. I insert Oscar Romeo Bravo India, Orbi. And I'll do the same for Najaf. Oscar Romeo November India. So Baghdad has very light winds, so no issue for that. Cav OK, perfect weather. So Baghdad would be a good alternate if anything goes wrong and we need to divert. And Najaf, some slightly reduced visibility, but no winds. We could still land there, not a real issue. Baghdad is the bigger airport, more maintenance facilities and other facilities as well. So I'd probably go for Baghdad also because it's right in front of us. It's on our route. We don't need to turn around if anything would go wrong. System-wise, everything looks good. If we look at our fuel flow, our fuel tanks, everything looks very normal. No fuel leak to be seen. Engine vibrations within normal rates. So system-wise, for the aircraft, everything looks good. Our status page is empty, no problems. You see this company message here, that's just Air Arabia operations. Asking for a reason for the delay. 100 minutes, that's because the departure time was wrong in the flight plan. And if we look here, there is actually a code for that incorrect departure time. There was 60 minutes and there is still 40 minutes missing. So we can go into the delay menu. And then let's do it here, it's easier. So let's put a delay of 60 minutes. It was actually more, I think, than 60 minutes. Yeah, 8:22, while our scheduled departure time was 9:40. So that's 1 hour and 18 minutes, which is 78 minutes. Let's change that to 78 minutes of delay, and for those minutes the reason was a wrong departure time. Incorrect departure time is Oscar Delta India as code. And then there's still 22 minutes missing. And that basically was just me talking too much, probably, the recording. Nothing for which we have a real code here. So I'll just put other miscellaneous. Oscar Tango Hotel. We sent this and that cleared the company message. We will receive a new one telling us that the ADC is received. So that's nicely cleaned up. So status, we can see it here. There would be a little sign here if there would be something on the status page, but you can open it up as well and everything is normal. So we're good to go and continue our flight to Istanbul. So in the middle of Iraq, we continue up north to Turkish airspace. There is still no ATC online. Tehran ATC is online, but we remain outside of Iran airspace today. We can also have a look at our destination weather. I could use the menu here again for that, but we can also quite easily see it on here. Let's look at our arrival. So we still have winds from an eastern direction. Broken clouds at 3,300, which is fine. Another layer at 9,000 feet. 8 degrees, so we definitely will need anti-ice during our descent, especially because the engines will be running at low thrust. Our QNH. And Runway 24 right, that's not what I expected, and runway 06 right. Oh no, that's just the winds on the different runways. I checked about half an hour ago maybe, and the runway 06 right was in use for landings. So we will need to change that in our FMC later, as I put an expected runway of 06 left in there, but I'll wait a bit because things may change. So yeah, winds from an eastern direction, so yeah, we definitely will expect one of the 06 runways. And yeah, after our arrival time, as we said before, winds will change more westerly, northerly. So yeah, things may change. We will. These are only forecasts, so we will have a look at that when we're closer to our destination. Look at our progress page as well. We are cruising at flight level 360. In the meantime, our optimum is 370 and our max is 386, and I think it would be more efficient to do a step climb to flight level 380. So for this I will change the cruising altitude to flight level 380, change it here, and have a climb now to 380, and there it goes. Have it managed. And apart from that, we can have a view from the outside as well. Always nice to see your plane, especially this beautiful Airbus, the A321. Impressive length. Always nice as well to see a turn. While in outside view, and zoom a bit out to enjoy a bit of the Iraqi landscape as well. I love the graphics on Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. Yeah, when it came out there were a lot of negative comments, it crashed a lot, and for me it has always been stable. I've been using it from about 3 to 4 weeks after release. I always wait a bit after something is released, and I never had real issues with the Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024, except for the lack of a Boeing 737, which I know much better than the Airbus. Well, a high quality study level add-on, the only things I fly actually, and but that came out now from PMDG. A lot of criticism on that as well, mainly because of their pricing, but obviously I still will get it. I love flying the Boeing 737, but yeah, before that came out, so for quite some time now I've been flying the Airbus. And Fenix has a great model of the A320 family, and I'm also very much looking forward to their Neo series, which should have been out already, but they delayed it to beginning of next year, which is fine. Patience is something you really need when being a flight simmer, and if you do not have patience and you are a flight simmer, then well, you will get it. Because you will need it. So yeah, let's go back into the cockpit. That was the unrealistic part of the flight. Go outside and see your airplane from the outside during cruise, which is not possible. I suppose there's still no passengers in the cabin. Not sure why GSX did not put visible passengers in the cabin this time, but that's not something I care too much about anyway. So yeah, here we are continuing our cruise. Let's see how far to our top of descent. We can see that on our performance page. And UTC right now is 12:18, and at 14:25 we expect to be on our top of descent, which is about 2 hours from now. So still some time to go, and I won't bore you much more during the cruise. We have reached our step climb and final cruising altitude of 38,000 feet. And I'll be back as promised for the approach briefing and then the eventual approach and landing into Istanbul. By the way, I'm using FS2 crew. I'm using the Fenix A320, which should be clear by now. I'm using FS2 crew, which I already set, and also GSX. And I had a payware scenery in Sharjah, and also a payware scenery which I only installed yesterday for Istanbul, Sabiha, Gökcen. And I'll link to all these add-ons in the description below. These are not sponsored links, it's just for your reference. Nothing in this video is sponsored by anyone. And if I don't say anything about these sceneries or other add-ons, that means personally I can fully recommend them. And if I would use add-on sceneries which I can't recommend, I would tell you why. So yeah, see you in a bit. Well, for me 2 hours or a little bit less than 2 hours, but for you, well, in a couple of seconds. So we are still in the cruise, but not too far away from our top of descent, 160 miles as we can see here. So it's more than time to start our approach briefing and make our plans for the arrival. So for this I will pass on the controls to our first officer. You have control?
I have control.
If I'm not mistaken, as he has control, he will put the autopilot on his side as well. Which means autopilot 2. So for our approach into Sabiha Gokcen Airport in Istanbul, Turkey, we'll first have a look at the weather, because that was not too good, but nothing critical either. So yeah, it's easiest now to do it here. So let's look at our arrival weather, update it, and we see the winds are still kind of easterly, but starting to turn north, as it was predicted for later this day to have more northwesterly winds. So it's starting to turn. For us it will mean more and more crosswind. Clouds broken at 3,300, which is not an issue. Broken at 9,000, 7 degrees, it's cooling down. Definitely we'll need some anti-ice looking at all the clouds here above Turkey during our approach. And the wind at 06 right, which we are expecting right now, is yeah, even more crosswind, 20 degrees at 10 knots. So that's for the weather. Lima Tango Fox Mike weather. Not sure, I think that's the main Istanbul airport. That would be our alternate. There the winds are already northerly. But so are the runways, and yeah, 6 degrees kind of same weather conditions. This is suitable as an alternate. I don't see any issues landing here, even if we'd have some technical issues. Yeah, we keep this this alternate for now. Let's just check, because the code is nice, but yeah, it's Istanbul, Lima Tango Fox Mike, so it's the main airport, which should be here. Nice big airport, several runways, and acceptable weather. So this will be not far away as well from weather is not an issue in this area right now, as we could see. So we will keep this as our planned alternate. You won't be able to see it on your screen, but I'm just checking on flight radar right now if nothing has changed. Yes, it's runway 06 left in Sabiha Gokcen is used for departure, so for our landing we will be using 06 right. Quite a long taxi then to the apron, which I will show you on a map in a minute, which means we will start our APU a little bit later, not straight away after landing. We'll do an ILS approach into Sabiha Gokcen. It will be our final sector. I will not be performing the return flight to Sharjah today. The reason is that I will take another airframe from Sabiha Gokcen to Casablanca in Morocco, and I will use an airframe of Air Arabia's Moroccan sister company, Air Arabia Maroc, to do this. Within this virtual airline I'm flying for, Air Arabia Maroc, you can fly for any of the group's branches. And the reason why I'm flying to Casablanca is that there will be a VATSIM event in 2 days from when I'm recording this. And I want to be already closer to that so I can participate in that event. I will be recording the flight as well to Casablanca, and also the flight into that very busy VATSIM event, which should be great fun. So if you want to see that, make sure you subscribe to my channel and ring the bell so you get a notification when I publish these videos. And by subscribing, by liking my videos and also commenting my videos, you also support my channel if you want to do that, if you like to do that. So let's open the charts. I'll take my EFB in front of me. That gives me an easier view. So let's first see the approach, as we have to change it to runway 06 right. Here we have the Yankee approach. And this is the Zulu approach, just to see what makes more sense to use. I usually, if in doubt, use the Zulu approaches for ILSs. So for that, it's best to have a look at our star now to see what we'll be doing. I go into my flight plan page, click my destination arrival. I still have 06 left here, but that is not correct. We have to change that to the ILS. And let's start with the Zulu for 06 right. We have to scroll a bit, and here is the ILS 06 right Zulu approach. Let's put that in for now. We can always change it. And our last waypoint is still Tucker. Nothing changes on that, and so for this it can remain the Tucker 1 Golf arrival. Apparently that arrival is valid for both runways. So we insert that. We will look at the Tucker 1 Golf arrival. So let's go, just put a star at our, we don't need Cat 2. ILS Zulu, perfect. We don't need this one. 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 I don't know why they are all start. So like this, it's easier to find the necessary charts back later. Oh, this is the 06, right. No, here's the 06, right. Okay. So for the arrivals, we set the Tucker 1 Golf arrival. Let's just find that here. Tucker 1 Hotel. And Tucker 1 Golf, RNAV arrival. Which means we'll be coming from Tucker. There we have to be below flight level 270. We'll look at that and compare it to our FMC in a bit. We'll just see how this arrival puts us in to the ILS. It leads us all the way to Ubixi. And then I can have a look. It's just started, it's already start, perfect. Now we can go to start and we immediately can find our ILS Zulu back. And here is Ubixi, so the ILS Zulu is perfect for the Tucker 1 Golf arrival because it leads us all the way to Ubixi. So let's see if that's all nicely set up in our FMC. So if I go back to the arrival, I look at Tucker. I'll find Tucker on here. Tucker, which we have to cross at 280 knots. 277 knots is fine. And flight level 270 or below. So that's nicely put in. Then we continue to Fox Juliet 821, track 272, 15 miles, perfect. From there we continue to Raville. Let's scroll up a bit more. So here's Raville, and at Raville we have a restriction of 250 knots, and we must pass Raville between flight level 170 and 190, and we will pass it at 190, so that's good. Then we continue to Fox Juliet 822. And then to Fox Juliet 823, which we will have to pass between 11,000 feet and flight level 130. 823, and we will pass it at 130. That's fine. No speed restriction there, but we will stay below 250 knots. Continue to Fox Juliet 724. Then Fox Juliet 725, which we need to pass at 230 knots and 8,000 feet exactly, not below or not above. 8,000 feet, that's done. Then we continue to Fox Juliet 730, no restrictions. 731, 732, 733, 734, which kind of forms an arc. That's all in there. Then the 735, which we will still pass at 8,000 feet. and the 737, 5,500 or below, and we will pass it at 5,500. Apologies, or above. Then 4,000 feet for Ubixi at 210 knots. Ubixi 210 knots, 4,000 feet. Perfect. So that's all correct. Then we will transition into the ILS. Ubixi 210, 4,000 feet. Track 51 to Adfen. Adfen at 195 knots. Mandatory 3,000 feet. That's correct in the FMC. And then we continue to India Sierra Golf November, which is let me see, let's scroll up, which is the final approach fix. 8.6 miles out. Yeah, so final approach fix for runway 06 right at 180 knots. It's all in there. And we'll follow the ILS down to the runway. Decision altitude is 590 feet. Barrow, which means 320 feet above the ground. And that means that our airport elevation is 312 feet, to be precise. We won't do an auto land. I'm planning to go manual, like at about 1,000 feet. Keep the auto thrust on and land. So no auto land, not necessary either. We will wait with the APU after landing, and we'll do a landing performance in a minute. So let's look at the airport too. This is the runway we'll be coming into. I'm planning to park somewhere here. We'll land. Hopefully we can take Alpha 7 as an exit, and Alpha 7 is a bit after half of the runway. Let's keep that in mind for the performance. And if we take Alpha 7, we'll turn left on Alpha, then right through Bravo, cross this apron. You'll find the taxi chart in a minute. Then probably right on Charlie, cross 06 left, and then Foxtrot 4 or Sierra to the terminal. Let's go back to the ILS for the go around. In case of a go around, we need to stay on runway heading until we cross the 06 right threshold here, or crossing 800 feet, whichever is later. So we'll climb straight ahead to 230 knots maximum speed, and at this threshold, or 800 feet, whichever comes later, we'll turn right direct Fox Juliet 064, and we'll cross that waypoint at or below 3,000 feet, then right to Pipak, and then right to Fox Juliet 065, where we will enter and hold. So the go-around altitude is basically 3,000 feet, and then later we'll turn it to 5,000 feet. So for now we will use the go around altitude 3,000 feet, so we will not overshoot that in case of a go around. And as you can see here, everything I just said is also nicely already in the FMC. Let's just have a look at our progress. We are almost at top of descent. There is no ATC, so I'll put this already quite close to platform altitude. I should have asked the first officer as well before I did this brief, and I'm not done yet, if he's ready. Are you ready for the approach briefing?
Go ahead.
Yeah, he was ready. So that's all briefed. We go into, not start, ground charts. We'll see what other charts they have here. We will need the parking stands and taxi route arrival 06 right. I don't know what they mean now with 1 Yankee or 1 Zulu. We'll start both for now. Then we go into start mode. We have them all here. Okay, so the normal taxi route, if we leave via Alpha 7, so we should really not leave later because that would not be efficient. Just keep an eye on my top of descent. Then we turn left on Alpha. Then we take Bravo 7. Turn left again on Bravo, then turn right Kilo 2, then right Charlie, yeah, so we need to use the 1 Yankee because we want to vacate from Alpha 7. And what's the difference from this? Yeah, this would also be an option, but it's probably a configuration ATC gives to arriving traffic, and then they know which taxi route to follow, so probably it doesn't matter too much which one we will choose. Let's stick with the first one, and I was planning on, and that's 1 Yankee. We then turn right on Charlie, all the way down to Charlie 11. Probably not the most efficient route if I look at it now, but it doesn't matter. And from here we are pretty much free, I think, to use Fox 4 or Sierra to enter into the terminal. For the parking stands, if there is no ATC giving me another parking stand, I will use stand 204 Alpha. Okay, we will start our descent. Our briefing is completed. We just need to put our destination information into our computer and do a landing performance as well. I should have done that already, but I talked so much that we are already starting our descent, and I was planning to have everything done before. I think for the briefing we're good, so let's see if he has any questions. Any questions?
No questions.
Okay. Then I have control. I have control.
You have control.
Okay, he's a bit slow today. That doesn't matter. I have these days as well. So, enter destination data. Airbus already gives me a wake-up call that it's really time now for the destination data. We have all our charts ready here for what we need for our arrival, so that's great. I can leave this menu. I go to the weather once more. Update it once more, you never know for changes. QNH 1020. The temperature is 7 degrees. That sounds chilly. Wind right now 30 degrees at 7 knots. I hope for a config 3 landing. And again, I will do the arrival performance in a minute. And Barra Ref was 590 feet. Okay, everything is in here. Let's do the arrival performance as well. Yeah, looking outside, my frames look nice, normal, smooth, but not on my displays. So not sure what's causing that. I did not have this last time, even when I was recording. I suppose it has something to do with the recording. Something is using a lot of CPU, I suppose. I'm not sure, but we'll go with it. That side as well, same thing. Yeah, all the displays. It is what it is. Just checking if anything in the background may be running causing this. Not really. So yes, this is all in there. We were talking about the performance calculation for landing. 06, right? We'll put good, because I'm not sure if the runway is already dry. There were some rain showers apparently this morning. I'll apply the meter. Our landing weight is something we need to look at. Zero fuel weight is 61.9. We estimate our landing with 3.8 tons of fuel on board. So that's 65.7. 65.7 as landing weight. Let's try with low auto brake, idle or no reverse, manual landing, flap 3 and auto throttles on. And with this we will not be able to make that Alpha 7 exit. So let's try with max reverse. Also that doesn't help. Let's try with full flaps. That makes it better. And max reverse. I think this, we leave this because that's already a heavy configuration we have here. Yeah, medium, that would be, we also have to think about the passengers a bit. They will be shocked, I think. So yeah, we keep low auto brake. I think this is more or less Alpha 7. And this is pretty generous, so usually we stop a little bit before what this calculates, and I'll use some manual braking as well if necessary. I think with this we can use Alpha 7, which is a high-speed exit as well, so flap full. We will need to change this in our performance. So next phase, so we change back to configuration full and turn off the landing flap 3 button here. So landing performance calculation is done as well. And we continue our descent into Istanbul in this beautiful sunset light. We are approaching the clouds with a low outside air temperature below 10 degrees, which means that we will put the engine anti-ice on. So once more, as it's a complicated go-around procedure, in case of a go-around, we will climb straight ahead to 3,000 feet. At the end of runway 06 right, or 800 feet, whichever comes later, we'll turn right to Fox Juliet 064. Cross that waypoint at or below 3,000 feet, then continue to turn right, and continue our climb to 5,000 feet via Pushback to Fox Juliet 065, and there we enter a hold. Try another approach or divert as we tried to input it in our secondary flight plan just before. So platform altitude is 3,000 feet. I hope to be intercepted on the ILS by then, so we can just leave this as the go-around altitude 2. Transition level is by ATC, which we don't have today, but the transition altitude is 12,000 feet. I suppose the transition level will be 13,000 feet, and that means that we can go to local QNH at this moment. So QNH is 1020.
1,0,20, set passing 13,000, 100. Now.
Checked. Seatbelt signs are on, and outside temperature is now 0 degrees. We know that it's 7 degrees on the ground, so anti-ice will stay on until we are below the clouds. And then we can do the approach checklist. Approach checklist.
Barrel ref.
1020 set.
1, 0, 2, 0, set. Seatbelts.
On.
Minimum.
590 feet set.
Auto brake.
We didn't put the auto brake, so we'll put it on low. Low armed.
Engine mode selected.
And that's been normal all flights. Normal. Normal.
Approach checklist complete.
So we discussed to go around when we land on 06 right, so our plan is to vacate via Alpha 7 and then turn left on Alpha. Even on the sim you're flying alone, I always recommend to do a departure briefing and an approach briefing like you would in the real world. It just gives you a better mental picture of what to expect and what to do if something goes out of your expectations. So there is no ATC, but we are flying on VATSIM. There may be other traffic around, so it's important you stick to what's happening in the real world. So all the traffic on VATSIM lands on the same runway, and I just double-checked on flight radar. Traffic is still using runway 06 right, so we will do the same. And normally the other pilots, if flying here, will do as well. So we are below 10,000 feet. Normally the first officer did his part of the job and switching on all the lights, especially the landing lights. On the approach we need to be stabilized by 1,000 feet above ground, which is 1,300 feet, so we will configure early, especially as we have a full flaps landing. I'll turn the landing system on, and we see that we already have the identifier of the ILS, India Sierra Golf November. The EFIS is put on constraints. So as I said, I'm flying to Istanbul and we'll change the airframe here to a Air Arabia Maroc airframe to do a reroute flight to Casablanca, and then I'll be in Morocco on time for the VATSIM event, which is happening there on the 28th of December, but by the time I publish this video, that may already have passed or will be very close. But subscribe if you want to see that event, because I'll be recording my flight into that very busy event as well. Cabin is ready. The autopilot is maintaining 8,000 feet as our constraint altitude. So yeah, a long star in the clouds. You would check for ice buildup on here, but I don't think the conditions are very icy, and I don't think this is actually simulated at this moment. We're passing Fox Juliet 733. Two more waypoints until we will be on course to the ILS. Especially with air traffic control online, we would keep in mind as well that we might get a shortcut, and that would be important to maintain our approach profile, our descent profile. So the constraint of 8,000 feet is valid until Fox Juliet 735, and from there, by following this star without shortcuts, we will start our descent into the airport. Our glide slope is above the water. No issues with the minimum safe altitude. However, on this side of the airport, as you can see here, minimum safe altitude is 4,500 to the south due to these mountains or hills here, and 3,100 to the north. Same behind the airport. So for our mental picture, if anything goes wrong, like an engine failure, or we would have difficulties climbing out, we would maintain left of the airfield. 4 miles to Fox Juliet 735, and from there we are allowed to descend below 8,000 feet. Next constraint is 5,500. So as we can see on the ILS chart, we are supposed to maintain 160 knots until 5 miles to touchdown. We don't capture the ILS yet, but we are more or less on course. Activate approach phase. The first officer will now activate the approach phase. Still in the clouds. Be nice to get at least a glimpse of Istanbul, but probably not today. Cloud base according to Meta was 3,300 feet. We are at 6,300. Approaching Fox Juliet 737, 5,500 feet. Next constraint is 4,000 feet. And this comes with a speed reduction to 210 knots. And we are already. Okay, we captured the ILS now, at least the distance, 23 miles out. We reach 5,500 exactly at the constraint, which is efficient because this enables a continuous descent further down to 4,000 and then probably as well to 3,000. We're breaking out of the clouds earlier than expected because I think I can see all the way towards the runway. We'll keep anti-ice on for a bit. You see the hills which we've seen before, which affect our minimum safe altitude. Yeah, cross to tailwind where we are right now. Hopefully that will change. Very light though, so this is a tailwind. We could even land with that. Okay, reaching our next constraint, we have capture of the localizer and the glide slope. We are well below the glide slope. But adhering to the constraints, of course.
1000 to go.
That's checked, and we will arm the approach. And call for some flaps already. Flaps 1.
Speed checked. Flaps 1.
First officer doesn't sound very motivated. Yeah, the descent to 3000 feet was a bit steep. That wasn't me, that was the VNAV profile. But now we're maintaining 3000 feet anyway, I think, until capture, so speed is bleeding off rapidly. And yeah, lights are already on in Istanbul. It's evening here. Local time 17:52, 5:52 p.m. Behind schedule, we should have been on the ground at 5:40 p.m. local time, or 2:40 p.m. UTC. I am on UTC here. Okay, we're capturing the glide, so we'll do flaps 2. Flaps 2. Flaps 2.
Speed checked.
Here we go.
Flaps 2.
Again, we want to be fully stabilized by 1,300 feet. Which in IFR conditions, even though we're visual now, is our landing gate.
Radar altimeter alive.
Checked. You can see it here, that it is alive. 6 miles out. Glide slope captured, go around altitude set. And let's call for the gear. Gear down. Gear down.
Gear down.
Tell him twice.
Cabin crew, proceed for landing.
Flaps 3.
Speed checked. Flaps 3.
And let's call for full flaps. Full flaps. Flaps full. Yeah, you did get that. Flaps full. Flaps full.
Speed checked. Flaps full.
Landing checklist.
ECAM memo.
We are stabilized. Landing, no blue.
Landing checklist complete. 1000.
Manual flight.
1000.
Checked.
Okay, flying manually now. Ground speed is 130, so about 650 feet. Descent rate.
101.
Slightly below the glide slope. Correcting. You see the puppies, 2 red, 2 green, 2 red, 2 white.
Minimums.
We're still on auto throttle. Continue.
Checked.
Was a bit late. We have a headwind now. Slightly high.
50, 40, 30, 20, retard. Retard. Retard.
Spoilers. No reverse engine 1 and engine 2. Diesel.
What happened there? The gear was down for a second. Now it's up again. Very strange. Okay. Well, due to that, no issues to vacate via Alpha 7. That was strange. Let's disarm the spoilers. What happened there? After landing checklist.
Radar and proactive injection system.
Off.
After landing checklist complete.
Yeah, the gear was down. I think it was down at touchdown as well. Suddenly it was up and then it was down again. Very strange. So welcome to Istanbul anyway. Sabiha Gökcen Airport. Let's look at our taxi chart. So we'll continue to Bravo 7. We vacated at Alpha 7, so Bravo 7, we can see ourselves here, is the next to the right. Very strange. All these weird sim issues I only have when I'm recording, so I suppose it has to do something with that. I don't know, CPU usage, or if you have any idea, let me know. But lots of strange things happen when I record, like this, what you just have witnessed now. So we turn left here, and then right, a bit fast for these 90-degree turns, then right on Kilo 2. I didn't do a call out on Unicom on the advisory frequency before landing, but looks like there wasn't any traffic here anyway. We'll wait a bit with the APU, but we can turn the anti-ice off. I see it's still on. So this is Kilo 2. And now straight ahead till the end, and then right on Charlie. Mind our taxi speed. So yeah, anti-ice off. Our first officer did his after-flight procedure of cleaning up the cockpit. Lights are all good. So nearing the end here. Not too slow either. So yeah, at the very end we are at Charlie 11. We'll cross 06 left after having a good look out. And we can already switch to our parking chart. (204 Alpha). So I think entering at Sierra is the most logical way to park here. 204 Alpha. Let's see if we can select that stand already from GSX. We said 204 Alpha. Here it is. Yeah, not. Okay, we're approaching a runway here. So let's slow down a bit. Left is clear. Nobody on the runway. And after Echo, we'll turn left on Delta. Should have used the strobe light while crossing the runway. We're good. The airport looks empty. No traffic here. I'm still connected to VATSIM. Yes, I am. No entry. No entry, and I think This is Sierra. Turn right here. Yeah, I wonder with the landing gear. This was the first time I landed on this paver scenery for Sabiha Gökcen. I'll link to it below. Maybe that had something to do with it. Again, any ideas, let me know. I never had that. Like touchdown with the gear, suddenly the gear appears down, up I mean, and then suddenly 1 second to the other down again. There is some traffic approaching the airfield here, at least I'm not completely alone. Let's not miss our parking spot, 204 Alpha, this is Bravo, this is 204, so this will be 204 Alpha. Shut down engine 2. Taxi light off. Now we are suddenly late to turn the APU on. But better late than never. Oops. I'm just showing you how not to park an aircraft. Okay, Istanbul Sabiha Gökcen International Airport, and there we are. Parking brake set. Not. Cabin crew disarm slides and cross-check. Ah yeah. Okay, we are just on time on APU. The first officer switched the fuel pumps off. We can do the parking checklist. Parking checklist. Parking checklist.
Parking brake or charge.
Set.
Engines.
Off.
Wing lights.
Off.
Fuel pumps.
Off.
Parking checklist complete.
And with the N2 below 20%, we can also turn the beacon light off, and the deboarding should start now. So there was a quiet, calm flight from Sharjah to Istanbul. Apparently they want me to open the drawers. Let's have the GPU as well. And the doors. So, deboarding can commence. Here we can see the passengers. It's just in the airplane. Now we can see them. They were just not seated. Okay, we have the external power unit available. We can switch off the APU. And of course have a look at ourselves from the outside. At Sabiha Gökcen airport, there is the aircraft coming in which just landed, which we saw. Doesn't show a livery, I don't know who it is. And here is Sabiha Gökcen airport. First impression of the scenery, it looks really good. Maybe I should wait until the passengers have left the plane and then see if I can get somehow into the terminal. That would be nice. Yeah, that looks like a 777 without livery, and looks he will park somewhere close to me. So yeah, let's wait until they are deboarded. Doesn't show here, but yeah, sync between GSX and the Fenix A320 does not work properly anymore since one of the updates, BFU or the GSX update. By the way, comment, let me know what you think of my videos. Anything I can improve, the things you like, the things you don't like. This is a new channel, so I need feedback. If you like it, or if you don't like it but want to see me improve, please subscribe to support what I'm doing. Like my videos, comment them. Be honest but respectful.